Looks like we're live.
We're live, but not on Twitter because I required to have a premium account for live broadcasts on the platform. I thought I had a premium account. Okay, so I'll remove that, but we're live on 4 platforms.
Beautiful technology. Great job.
Good morning. How are you?
Excellent, man. Excellent. Been an emotional roller coaster today. Just watching myself swing between them, and that's due to well, we'll get into more of that, why that is later. But it's been a ride, but I'm here doing all right. How about you?
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, and my respect to you for being able to notice. Good morning. If you're joining us on live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram, my name is Danny McAtee. This is my friend and colleague CT Dool, and we have a men's group called The Forge. We've been doing some lives discussing and hopefully modeling some of the ways that we discuss topics that are common for men to deal with, whether or not we're able to deal with it or publicly, verbally, or if it's just something internal that we deal with by coping mechanisms such as having affairs, such as drinking, such as pornography, such as fighting, such as fill in the blank for your case, gambling, working excessive amounts of overtime, whatever the case may be. This is a place where we talk about it, no holds barred, and all topics on the table. We invite you to join the conversation. Today, we're talking about relationships. We'll get into a little bit of like check-ins with us personally, as CT mentioned, but today we're talking about relationships. And the question that we'd like to pose to you today is, have you ever sacrificed your values or ethics to be in a relationship? And if so, why? The quote for this morning is, absolutely nothing that is meant for you will require you to compromise your integrity, lower your energy, or abandon your values and boundaries to receive it, which I think is for many, many people is a common theme. And I'd like to just get into that a little bit today. So CT, what do you think about that question, that topic?
It's a great topic, man. Thanks for introducing that as well as the group. I think that's something we can all relate to. That's certainly something I can relate to. Have I compromised my integrity, my boundaries, my values to be in a relationship? Absolutely. I think for me, it's been due to kind of a mix of validation and approval from somebody. It's been a mix. There's been elements of not feeling worthy internally and having to hook myself up to that other person. It's been a function of not wanting to be alone. You know, how many people are in relationships because at the end of the day, they don't want to be alone? And I think that's a whole topic we can get into, right? But yeah, there's a lot of reasons I think I've engaged in that sort of behavior. I'm getting better about it. Starting to become more aware. When am I compromising my values to be with this person? Um, and yeah, so for me, at the end of the day, it's like approval, a bit of neediness, and not feeling worthy internally, and then not wanting to go through life alone. But in avoiding that, actually doing myself a disservice by being with someone that doesn't align with me. You know?
Thank you for that. Listen, I just want to say, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm taking notes. You just said a lot of really valuable stuff, but you have my 100% attention. I can do both.
Appreciate it.
So I wanted to ask you about something, if I may. The first thing you said was validation. Say more. Who has the power to validate you, and what about you requires being validated?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. That is that's something I think a lot of men struggle with, something I struggle with greatly, have struggled with in the past. And I'm just now detaching from actually. Um, I think we grow up with these beliefs about ourselves, right? I think we grow up with these internalized beliefs of unworthiness. And so, well, if I have a void in me, right? If I learned as a kid that I'm not worthy, if I told myself that I have a void in me, where can I fill that void? I don't know how to fill it internally. I don't even know about that concept, right? As like a 21-year-old kid going out and drinking, and so I don't even know what that means, right? No knowledge, no tools of, therapeutic knowledge or tools, nothing. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll go get it externally,
Mm.
right? And then as we do it countless times. Maybe sometimes we get that approval. Maybe sometimes we don't. And we go back to reinforcing that belief. Oh man, yeah, I guess I ain't shit. And when we do get it, it's like, man, that feels good for 5 fucking minutes
Mhm.
until that wears off and we need to go get it again. So in my life, dude, I've been like a damn dog digging in the corner of the backyard. Fucking keep on digging, man. Just keep on. I think I'll get some validation here. I think finally I'll feel good if I just get a little more. And it's like,
Interesting.
that's not how it works, man. So yeah, for me, it's just been about shifting to internalized sense of worth, internalized validation. And I've noticed, we can unpack this more later, but I've noticed as I've addressed the core wound, the core void, those compulsions almost just evaporate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So as you address the core void, meaning as you address the thing that you were seeking to fill with these coping mechanisms, then what happens?
Like what happens after I kind of move inward and address some of those internal voids?
Yeah, what do you notice?
I notice that I don't need all this external shit. I notice that I don't. It's really interesting, man, to observe it, especially this past month since going back and kind of doing some of that deeper work. I noticed that I can walk around in the world and just appreciate beauty, for example, with women, instead of having those compulsions running me and going, hey, let's go there. Let's go get that. You know,
Mhm.
I can just go, oh, that woman's beautiful, but I don't need her to validate me to feel good.
Mhm.
It's really interesting, man, to observe. Um, yeah. So what about yourself, Denny? I'm interested if we go back to the original question. You've shared a little bit on on a personal note with me on this, but yeah, man, I'll pose the question to you. Like, have you and when have you gone against your values, gone against your integrity, for the sake of relationships to others?
Almost always.
Loud and clear.
Mm. I mean, I think what I think I hear you saying is you're addressing as you're healing the wound, you need the bandage less.
That's it.
Right. And so for me, I think that there's a combination of what I feel, what society has taught me that I think I'm supposed to feel, um, what other things I'm feeling that I attribute to, well, this is because I'm lonely, right? This is because I'm alone. And for me, as I'm 50 and I've been in the game for a while, I've started to ask different questions like, um, am I lonely because I can't stand myself and do not like to be alone with myself? Or am I lonely because life is very beautiful and I've reached a point where I want how do you say, a testigo, a witness,
Mm,
right? Because really humans, we are meant to be socially connected creatures. That's biological. Our society has moved us away from that, especially in the West, a lot, and we're sick because of it. But for me personally, I mean, your question is, in what ways have I moved away from? Well, I'll tell you about my most recent relationship is where I heard words that said one thing, which were the things I wanted to hear. And my gut responded to my observations, which were opposite.
Mm.
Right. And so this is the basis of what we call moral injury, right? When our ethics and principles are one thing, but our behavior is something else in opposition to those ethics and principles. And it creates tension. It's like, I believe this, but I'm doing this. Something doesn't line up, and it creates tension and eventually can create an injury, moral injury. And so in this relationship, I was hearing what I wanted to hear, which filled in the blank that the formula in my mind was have a stable relationship, build something together, create economic stability, create wealth, have experiences, do things together as a group, expand the friend group, expand the family group. These are basic things that I've always wanted. But then seeing behaviors that were opposite of that or contradictory to that, where I went against my principles was ignoring what I felt and believed to be true and basing my decisions on what I was hearing. Because here's a fact. There are more nervous impulses that go from the gut to the head, to the brain, than go from the brain to the gut. And so when people say, I have a gut feeling, it's a biological fact that we are directed to or away from something because our intuition is telling us, you might be seeing one thing, but here's the truth, and you're feeling it in your stomach. And so I have ignored what I've felt and observed and made my decisions based on what I was told, which has made me easy to manipulate. Right. Which later on, when I realized I was right, my gut was right all along, but I listened to the wrong voice. Now I'm like, what a fucking asshole. And then the voice starts. You're so stupid. You were meant to be alone. This is why you can't trust anybody, right? This is why you can't be in a relationship with anybody, et cetera, et cetera. And then that type of thinking creates the perfect opportunity for a negative coping mechanism.
For a what?
A maladaptive coping mechanism, a negative mechanism. So like, well, I can't trust anyone, so I'm just going to have 10 lovers that I don't even know the last name. Fuck it. No one needs to know me.
Sounds about right.
Or I'll just lock myself up in my own house because I know if I'm alone, I can control that. I'm in control. No one can do anything to me because I'm in prison. I'm in a prison of my own creation. Right?
That's real.
Yeah. And what happens? I mean, what happens when you go to prison and they want to torture you? They put you in solitary confinement. There's a reason for that, because we were not meant to be in solitary confinement. And yet my go-to is to put myself in solitary confinement inside my own fucking house.
Fuck.
How about them apples?
Yeah, man. Very relatable.
Which for me has a financial impact on me, because part of what I hope we speak about in this group more is that mental and emotional wellness is directly connected to financial wellness.
Yes. Yeah.
So for me, what that looks like is I don't need to go spend $200 on a 4 fucking star Michelin restaurant for lunch today, but fuck it, I'm going to. I'm just going to do it. Why? Because I want to feel good right now. That's a big one for me, is spending money. Right?
Yeah.
Because you know that when you walk into a restaurant, you're like, give me a table right at the front of the water. They're going to be nice to you because they want to suck tip money out of you. Right? You're a client, you're a paying customer, and that feels like connection sometimes. Right? People are like, is there anything that I can get you? How are you tonight? How are you doing? How was the meal? What would you like to? Now I'm getting all this like positive attention. Whereas for the past week, I've been in solitary confinement inside my house.
Yes.
Go to the gym, put on earphones, crank the volume to 1,000,000. And I'm there. There's people around me, but I'm isolated. And the momentum continues to push us toward similar energy, right? The energy of isolation tends to pull us farther in that direction, whereas the energy of connection tends to pull us in that direction. And so I'll give you an example. I don't like clubs and bars. I find it to be distracting, loud, I'm wondering when I'm going to look away and get a roofie in my drink, and then my orchids are in the black market or whatever. Like someone's going to take my, my wallet and go shopping. And so, but last night I was like, I went out. I went and sat in the taqueria. I know the ladies that run it, so I like chatted with them, had some connection. A friend of mine came down, had a taco on the way to something else. And then I'm like doing a walk around the romantic zone. It's a Friday night. And here in Vallarta, like Friday night starts around 10:30, 11. I'm at around 8 p.m. So there's no one really around. And I passed a place that said the roof is open. And I was like, I never knew there was a roof deck there. I'd never been in. So I went in, had a drink. It's starting to rain a little bit. And so this is me pushing outside of my comfort zone, going somewhere and connecting with complete strangers. And then I called someone. I was like, hey, what are you doing? You want to come have a drink? Also unusual behavior for me. So, and then after it was done, I'm like, people started getting crowded. The music started getting a little bit louder. And I'm like, I think I'm ready to pull the plug on this and leave. And so I went home. So what would I have done during those 2.5, 3 hours? I would have sat on TikTok inside my house with my 11-year-old Chihuahua between my legs and go scrolling up on TikTok on a Friday night.
Right. Which is get to your point of isolation, creating more isolation, more momentum towards isolation. Is you doing that for 3 hours is going to make you feel less inclined to go connect the next day
Yeah.
and more inclined to just do it again.
Yeah. And because remember, what is TikTok and social media? Those are little dopamine spikes. Those are little micro dopamine spikes. And the more you flick, the more you need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you speak more about, I'm interested in this topic, actually, really interested in this momentum, this idea of momentum toward isolation versus connection, and maybe how one would break that momentum and break that cycle of like, fuck, I'm falling deeper and deeper into isolation. How do I start to turn around and move into connection? Or is it just as simple as like take the action and get outside your comfort zone?
Yeah, it's a simple, like physiologically, it's simple as get your fat ass up and go somewhere. Like that's how you do it. Just
Physiologically.
go do it. Psychologically and chemically, it's a little bit different because we've talked about this concept a lot. The nervous system's job is to keep us in balance, right? And when something goes up over here, the nervous system does this. Something goes down here. That is the job of the nervous system, is to keep us in homeostasis, in balance. And the nervous system also is supposed to keep us safe. And it keeps us safe by keeping us in an environment or circumstance that we are familiar with and comfortable operating. But the cruel joke is that we're often familiar with and comfortable operating in environments that are super fucking unhealthy for us. This is a main theme with first responders, right? And so getting up out of your fat ass and going somewhere is just that easy. But neurologically, what's happening is we're going into an unfamiliar place, and our nervous system is like, and I say this the same time every time, the nervous system will always pull us to a comfortable chaos instead of letting us go toward an unfamiliar peace. And so if I'm comfortable and used to being in an environment, my nervous system will pull me to that. Right. So what that looks like in real life is me going up and be like, oh, I'm going to go up and get out. And then the nervous system going, but someone can review. But it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crowded. There's going to be people selling weed and coke there. Right. And all these different reasons why I shouldn't go to that environment. Stay in your zone. Stay in your comfort zone. Right. Oh, it's going to be raining. It's going to be hot. Whatever it is. And so the difficult part is being like, I'm going to sit with the discomfort of doing something new for a second. Right. And I'm using this very superficial model, but this applies to everything. Right. I'm going to be like, okay, so there's going to be a ton of people, but if I go at 8 p.m., there's going to be almost no people. Right. Because the bars are really just like, especially like the nightlife and stuff here, is very late start. So by the time I'm going to bed, they're just getting going. Right. So I'm like, well, there's going to be a lot of people. Not at 8. Not going to be a lot of people.
So at that point, you start to almost, well, one, you're aware now that it's this like safety mechanism speaking to try to keep you in your comfort zone. And then I guess it sounds like you can start to counter and not just be controlled. Like, well, hey, there's gonna be a lot of people. It's gonna be dangerous. All right, I'll stay in, watch TikTok. But now you can counter. You go, well, no, actually, and it's almost this like conversation with yourself, different parts of yourself that you can override.
Yeah, it's about choice and control. Like I'm like, and like I'm making it sound like this is a really big deal. For me, it was like a 5-minute transaction where I'm like, if I don't like it, I leave, just leave. I walk there to my house. I mean, it's no big deal. Or take a
Right.
5-minute taxi ride. Who cares? And so there's a little negotiation. What does this look like when we talk about things like when we get a little bit deeper in the maladaptive coping mechanisms? Having a side chick with a side family. And one lie becomes 10 lies, and little lie becomes big lie about where you are, who you're with, what are you doing, spending the money, right? It becomes a big web of things. So this concept can be very simple. But it can be applied to very complex scenario. But for me, the conversation looked a little bit like, okay, how is it working out for you to lay up in your bed and play around with fucking TikTok and numb out like a zombie? How's that working for you? Not great. Okay, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Continue to repeat the same behavior that you continue to complain about, or get up and do something different? It's something different. And now tonight, if someone says, "Hey, do you want to go get something?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I can go out. I'll be, I'll be out. I'll be leaving at 9:30 to go home, but yeah, I'll come out." Tomorrow morning, I'm going to the beach, 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning, going to some weird beach. It's going to be raining. I'm like, all right, get wet at the beach anyway. Let's go. I don't like it
Oh
all.
yeah. And that's that momentum towards connection.
Exactly. And it's the creation of a new habit, right? And when we move towards something new, the nervous system is like, hold on, wants to keep us in place. And once we recognize that, behavior change becomes not easy, but easier.
Hmm. Yeah. That's a really good point. That's a really good concept that we all struggle with, right? Getting caught in these loops, getting caught in these cycles, bad habits, maladaptive coping mechanisms. I think it works the same way, even with this concept you were just describing. Even works with like these self-limiting beliefs, right? You can start to get aware of them and hear them. Like, I want to go to a salsa class, and then it starts whispering like, "Nah, you can't dance, dude. Like, nah, if people are gonna see that, and you don't even drink anymore, you're gonna be sober." It's like it's not. You can start to hear these like limiting beliefs in your mind, and then have that conversation of like, actually, no, I'm going. You know, but it's a hard thing to do, man. It's a hard thing to override those things sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a hard thing, but it's like it's like the Brazilian wax thing. The
Yeah,
Brazilian the Brazilian wax. You just sit there and stare about it. It's like, oh, this is gonna hurt. Ooh, I've lifted. You lift up a corner. You're like, oh, it's gonna really hurt, right? Or you just be like, on the count of three, one, boom, done. Okay, that burned for a second, and move on. And the behavior change really has to do more with initiation than anything else, right? Going to the gym, right? People struggle to go to the gym, and really just get up and get into the gym. Just go there. You don't have to be Billy Blanks and have a hardcore workout for 3 hours. Just go to the gym. Because tomorrow when you go to the gym, you've already done that behavior. It's much easier. Now you go to the gym, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to do a couple of sets of this. It's like, great. Now you go to the gym the third day and you're like, oh, I'm going to do 5 sets of this, et cetera, et cetera. Now, before you know it, you're creating a new habit and a new behavior, right? And so doing it is the starting point is usually the hardest. And once you've started it, that momentum continues. It's like pushing a car that's stalled out. That hardest part is just getting the wheels going a little bit, getting some momentum in there. You're like, okay, now I have a stride. Now I can move it.
that's it, man. That's exactly right. I think it works like that for a lot of things. Teaching teaching nervous system capacity, teaching emotional capacity to yourself. I mean, that's what the name of the game for me, right? In the past month or so, is just teaching myself to be safe in a variety of different emotions, right? Instead of like, oh well, that mix of emotions specifically, that got me. I was prepared for A, B, C, D emotion, but that mix, that one fucked me up.
Mhm.
You know, it just slowly, little by little, you know, learning to be safe and hold oneself in the midst of any emotion, right? Slowly building that capacity up. And it's crazy that I'm 30 doing it. Some people do it older, but it's like I feel like that's something we should have learned at fucking 10 years old.
Well, it doesn't matter if we should have. If we didn't, we didn't. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right. But and it's crazy. And I don't say this to shame myself, but it's like, man, 30 years old and I'm just now learning emotional regulation.
what does that do for you when you say that?
It's honestly, I view it as positive. I view it, I feel proud of myself for doing that, you know, because I could just as easily keep on doing what I'm doing, what I had been doing before, which is avoid and escape,
Mhm.
you know, leave myself self-abandoned when I feel overwhelmed or some emotions that are unpleasant. I could do that till I go to my grave if I want to, right? But like you said before, where's that got me?
I think words matter. I think that our words become our thoughts, and our thoughts become our behaviors and our habits, and all of those form an identity at some point. And what I heard you say was, I'm 30 and I'm just. So say it like this. McAtee's 50 and he's just. Right? So when we compare ourselves to ourselves like that, I'm 30 and I'm just now getting this, or wow, I'm only 30 and I'm already doing this.
That's a good reframe.
It hits different, right?
It does, yeah. And that's honestly that captures my sentiments about it more accurately because I think when I look out on society, I see a lack of that skill, that capacity in people that are far older than me. So yeah, that is it's like it's crazy to say, right? Like 30 years old learning to regulate your emotions, but then on the other hand, it's like that's actually that's great.
Yeah, some people I know in their 70s, still haven't picked up that memo yet. So I'm like, well, sorry. My desk
Apologies,
is
I'm
open up.
looking for my charger.
Part of the reason that I call the work I do, both with my individual clients and first responders, part of the reason I call it the process is because it is a process, right? When you're baking a pie, you don't just all of a sudden get the fucking pie. You have to cut up the fruit and boil the shit and make the dough and do all this different stuff. And it's a process, and everyone's process is perfect. That's what I believe. And so I can spend all day being like, how come I didn't know this by now? How come I didn't do that by now? It doesn't really do anything except for hold you down. You know what I mean? And so for me,
Yeah,
this again, it's part of words matter. It's like my process is my process. However long it took me to get here, this is where I'm at.
yeah, that's true. I definitely, I mean, fitness is a great area to train that mindset too, right? Because you're always seeing people that are more fit than you running fast. This morning, right? I was jogging. Everybody was passing my ass on the trail, but I didn't give a fuck. And that was the thought process. They have their pace, I have mine. They're on their journey, I'm on mine. Doesn't have anything to do with each other. So I'm good. And I think that's a mindset that we should apply to growth, to emotional regulation, to whatever, right?
Yeah. Again, it's like comparing yourself to others really does one thing, which is hold you down. I do this to and I'm a hypocrite for saying that because I am the fucking worst. I do this all the time. I back when, and so I'm working with my trainer yesterday and we're actually kicking it up a notch and I'm going back to get certified again in Mexico as a trainer, you know, 30 years after I got it the first time. And I was saying to myself, and I was talking to him, he was like, you talk about when you used to. He was like, how much of that was before you got struck by a car, had your biceps tendon ripped out, broke your neck, broke your back? How much of that was before that? And I was like this. Good point.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like we don't do that. I was like, back when I could do this, back when I could do that, but I didn't say like, holy shit, I'm so grateful that I broke 2 of my vertebrae in my neck and I'm not drinking out of a straw for the rest of my life.
Right. The fact that you're in the gym is a miracle.
Yeah, I'm not sitting somewhere in fucking Pampers. I'm actually have a life I can move. I have very few limitations actually, and so it's a mindset thing. This is part of what we do. Men are, I think, very bad at this with ourselves. Is how hard we judge and criticize ourselves internally. You know.
We are, man. We are. That's one of the big realizations I came to recently about myself was I haven't stopped judging myself and being harsh on myself. I've just gotten better at it. I've gotten more subtle about it because, okay, 5 years ago, I forget to load the dishwasher when I thought I did, and I call myself a fucking idiot. Yeah, it's a bit over the top, but I don't do that anymore. I haven't called myself a name or, engaged in negative self-talk in years. But what I do is still judge myself when I don't live up to these lofty expectations. Or if I, like we were talking about the other day, right? If I hit 10 shots but I miss one, I overanalyze the one miss. I overjudge. I base my whole fucking self-concept on that one miss. I'm like, man, I ain't shit. Come on. But I don't say it in those words explicitly. I don't say I ain't shit. I just say it in like more sophisticated ways. And so that was the realization, man. On I call bullshit. What is
Oops. Oh, the ticker. I call bullshit ticker went up.
Whoa, what? Release the confetti. What is that?
I'm learning how to use the studio. Well, that's like all bullshit, right? Yeah, that type of thinking is bullshit.
Right, yeah. I knew you were fucking around, man. I could tell. No, but that's what I was realizing, man. I'm like, I thought I had achieved some form of self-compassion. I thought I have achieved a state of self-compassion just because I don't call myself an asshole and an idiot. But it turns out I just got more sophisticated on how I do that. And so what is true self-compassion? The knowledge that you bullshitting over there again, man. It's cool. This I'm speaking for other people. Uh no, but what is true self-compassion? It's the realization that I am human. I am fucking human. And I make mistakes.
Just say more about that. You're just compassionate is just regarding your mistakes?
Everything. That's the mindset, right? Good, bad, and ugly. It's the good, the bad, and the fucking ugly. Right? Instead of beating myself up and thinking that I'm not just human, right? It's celebrate the wins, but have grace with the bad and the ugly. And I think that is where, just to bring it back to the men's group, the men's group is a great function to be able to have that perspective that I'm human. Because when I hear Josh, group member, right, speaking about his escapades, I realized that, oh shit, I'm not the only guy that does that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I actually thought about doing that one time. I didn't do it, but I thought I was fucked up for even thinking about it. And here you are opening up about actually doing it. It turns out I'm human. Radical self-acceptance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Listen, my shrink did a Jedi mind trick on me one time when we were talking about how we speak to ourselves, and the nastiness and like the lack of compassion we use when we're speaking to ourselves. And she made me get a picture of myself when I was a little kid and put it up in the bathroom mirror. She was like, okay, she wrote down a few of the things that I was saying about. She's like, how do you feel about when you do this? How do you feel about it? And she tricked me into releasing like uh, my true inner voice to myself. And she wrote it down and she gave me the paper. She was like, now go in front of the picture of that little kid in the mirror and read this to yourself as a 5-year-old. And it was emotional. I was like, this is fucking stupid. I'm not going to do this. But then I went and did the exercise. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I felt like I was going to puke. Like, I would never speak to a 5-year-old, myself or any other child like this. And so it becomes, when we're talking about inner child stuff, or doing shadow work and stuff, we're like, speak to yourself as though you were speaking to a 5-year-old sometimes.
Yeah,
And
that's
see what
powerful.
changes for you, right? See what changes for you. And it changed me a lot. It's still a big work in progress. It's one of my weak points, actually. It's when I'm alone and like the first voice that comes out. And in therapy, we discovered, she was like, where else have you heard that? I was like, my mom.
Right,
Yeah, my mom. My mom used to say that.
right.
Uh,
The parent voice becomes your internal voice.
yeah. And in a group setting, it looks a little bit like, okay, CT, tell me what goes through your mind when you do this. When you do X, and you're like, what a fucking asshole, what a piece of shit. I can't believe I did this to myself. I'm like, okay, turn to the gentleman sitting to your right and say that to him. And all of a sudden, they're like, can't do it because one, you get your ass whipped.
Right, but
You know,
two,
like,
you just out of compassion, you don't want to say, like, what? Why would I call this guy that?
right, it's like completely indecent. I would never say this to another living person. Then why do you say it to yourself?
Right,
Why?
right, right.
So for those, we have a couple of people viewing here. For those of you who are just joining, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Danny McAtee. This is my colleague and friend, CT Dool. We have a men's group called The Forge. And we call it that because a forge means when you heat up iron to a super high temperature and pound it and do it again and heat it and pound it until it becomes a stronger, more refined version of itself. And we have this group called The Forge, a group for men where we talk about all of these topics we're talking about today and everything else. All topics are on the table. Here's a link. We invite you to join the conversation. There's never any pressure, but we would love to hear from you. And thank you for your patience as I learn how to use this platform. CT is learning how to use this platform. I think we'll get better. I might change it from hot pink. I don't know why it's hot pink, but
It's hot pink men's
may
word.
change that. That's right. Yeah, get in touch with your feminine side with a hot pink studio.
That's right.
What would you like to add anything to that? I think we just had a pretty good run of
We did, man. I
little
was just gonna.
truth bombs. Hmm?
Yes, we did. I was gonna compliment your running of the platform, dropping the link in there right on time. Good stuff. Um, no, man. This is just an invitation to men looking to connect, build accountability, brotherhood, and feel like you are human. So we invite you to come have a conversation. And yeah, appreciate you for listening.
Thanks, man. I'm trying to, let's see, I think that my phone number should be up. My WhatsApp should be on the top.
Yeah.
Here's how to reach me. CT, can you chat me how you want people to reach you?
Yeah, me let me figure out how to do that.
On the right-hand side, it should say private chat.
Private chat. Oh, here we go. Private chat. I'll just here's an email.
Email?
Email. I'm going old school. I ain't got that WeChat, Telegram, WhatsApp, none of that bullshit, but I got email.
Right. Well, so we're putting contact information. If you'd like to be in contact with either one of us directly, I'm putting my WhatsApp here on the top, and CT's given me his email, so you can reach him at that email. Reach out to us. We both do work with people on an individual basis as well. CT email.
This is cool, man. This is a good learning curve. I think we're gonna get better. Obviously, this one already went well, but this is a cool platform.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you to Ashley, the Raspy Dispatcher, for introducing me to this platform. So here is CT's contact information here. That is so cool. I don't know if you can do two at the same time. Let's see.
Now it's just going back and forth.
Just one at the same time. So there's our contact information. Reach out to us at any time. We would love to hear from you. Questions, comments. I invite you to join the conversation if you're a male. I think that we have a lot to speak about, and I think we have a lot to offer each other. And there's strength in numbers. It's always stronger in a group. All race, religion, color, and creed are welcome. Have to be at least 18. There's no one under 18 allowed. And come join the conversation. So we'll be doing another live on CT
Monday.
morning. At what time?
Don't know, but
Okay.
Monday.
Well,
Yeah, Monday.
Look for us Monday. CT's in Brazil. I'm in Mexico. We're in different time zones. So look for us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, and we'll be adding more platforms shortly. Thank you for joining us today. And CT, thanks as always for a really good conversation.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
All right, my friend. We'll speak soon.
All right.
Take care,
Take
everybody.
care.